Welcome. Just a quick overview of the EmpowerID password self-service and I forgot my password reset functionality that's available within EmpowerID. So from the web interface, EmpowerID allows a user to change and reset all of their passwords at once, or they can even individually change their passwords for different accounts to keep them separate. This is available within the web interface and also on the mobile phone. EmpowerID also has plugins in its ServiceNow orchestration pack, where within the ServiceNow service portal, users can manage their passwords and synchronize them and keep them in sync, enforcing the same password policies as if they were within the EmpowerID user interface. Extending this capability down to the mobile device, EmpowerID provides a mobile application that's used for multi-factor authentication, but also for password management. Users can change their password or passwords within the mobile device. They can also perform a self-service I forgot my password reset within the mobile device as well. Now, the I forgot my password self-service reset and unlock is probably the most commonly used feature for users because they often won't change their password before it does expire. If they do get locked out or they forget their password, they can perform this self-service reset again from the mobile application or from their mobile device in a web browser or from the web in EmpowerID as well. And this is an anonymous process, and we'll show that. But one of the unique things about this is that the I forgot my password self-service reset is an anonymous workflow, and it's very flexible with lots of settings. It basically allows the organization to configure how should this user do a self-service password reset. Some users, you might have a traditional, less secure method such as question and answer, which you see here with the question and answer shape in this workflow. Others might do a more modern approach, which is multi-factor authentication, whether that's a mobile phone push, whether it's to send a one-time password via SMS, email, or even a more modern approach such as WebAuthn with a FIDO key, even using biometrics. So based upon the user's password policy and configuration options, it'll say what should they do for you to trust they really are who they say they are in order to get past this identification stage and down to the unlock and the password reset. So we're going to take a look at this real quick in the web interface just to see what it looks like. Okay, so we've switched to a web browser. We're logged in as Irwin. This is before he forgets his password. So he can change his password, one of them or all of them, here in the change password screen. If you're still using the legacy method of enrollment questions, where users can have secret questions and answers, we have rich functionality for that as to which questions they should be asked in their preferred language, which ones are mandatory, which ones are selectable, which ones are write your own question, write your own answer, and which ones might be help desk questions, where in the event that they call the help desk can see the answers to these questions and only these questions in order to use them as another factor to help validate their identity. Most organizations have moved beyond this question and answer because it's not super secure and moved on to more modern methods such as a FIDO WebAuthn key, a hardware token, or a mobile phone push in order to validate the user's identity. So let's go take a look at a self-service I forgot my password reset as Patrick in this case when we're not logged into the system. Okay, so we pulled up our web browser and there are lots of options here. As a user, I could even be doing passwordless authentication and even usernameless authentication and avoid this whole password issue entirely. I also have options to, if I forgot my password and I'm using a password, to do a self-service reset. That's what we're going to look at. Or if I forgot my login, my username, or if I need to reset my token and have that reissued. Also could be using another form of authentication where it would skip this process entirely and I could log in using that and change my passwords. But in this case, we're going to run through the I forgot my password workflow. Okay, this workflow loads and it's asking me for my email or login or some form of identification. We have CAPTCHA enabled, so it's asking me to validate that I'm not a robot, and I pass that, so I can submit. And now we're in a workflow, so imagine we're in that flowchart workflow. So now in the case of Patrick, Patrick's policy does not enable question and answer because it's less secure. Patrick's policy requires multi-factor authentication, and it also requires him to do an even stronger multi-factor if he's coming from a remote IP subnet that's not on the local network. So if I'm on a remote, untrusted IP subnet, then it's going to require an even stronger form of identification. So in this case, I'm presented with my options. I could do a mobile phone push. I could use a hardware token, and I'm actually going to choose my WebAuthn FIDO key, which is a biometric key. So it's prompting me to touch my biometric token in my laptop. It's validating my fingerprint, and now it's going to verify my identity. Okay, I successfully passed that process, so it said that that was enough to validate my identity. It could even ask me for multiple forms of multi-factor, a one-time password to my phone or a push, plus the FIDO key. So at this point, I'm presented with a screen to reset my password. It's enforcing my password policy, which could be completely different based upon me being an admin versus a low security user. And it's going to synchronize this new password to all of my user accounts in any system, whether it's on-premise systems like Active Directory or LDAP or SAP, or cloud systems. Any of them that are not set up for single sign-on that require a password, it'll synchronize this password to all those systems. So this is the last step. The user will receive an email notification. Of course, everything is logged and tracked. I'm not going to reset my password right now, but that would be the next step. I hope this was helpful. Basically, we saw the change your password and synchronize to all systems, which was password management. We saw the I forgot my password self-service reset.